Hey, what is going on, guys? This is SMEP Reviews, and today we are looking at the 7th studio album from Fall Out Boy, Mania. Let's get to it. Man, Fall Out Boy has just lost a lot of what people loved about them. They were such a big rock band, and even when they went a little more pop rock, I mean, they were still popular and still had a lot of fans. But at this point, it just seems like all they care about is that money and that fame, and it's really unfortunate to see. I was never like a huge Fall Out Boy fan. I thought that they were good. I respected them. And Patrick Stump, while I'm not the biggest fan of his vocals, just because I feel like often his vocals sound very similar throughout songs, I honestly respect him a lot because he has a really powerful voice and has a huge range, and it just his voice is extremely respectable. And I do really enjoy his voice at times. But honestly, I just at this point, they are just the shell of what they used to be. The band used to be something that a lot of people really loved, and while I never really got into them, like I said, I know a lot of people really love them, and at this point, they've just lost a lot of that. They are just chasing trends. They're not setting trends. They are trying to be popular and do whatever they have to, and that's just so unfortunate to see because now all that matters to them is that fame, it seems. And I'm sure, obviously, there's no proof of that. I'm just making this up, but it does seem that way in their music. I mean, take that lead single, Young and Menace. I know a ton of people know that it's not a very good song. I've heard lots of things about it, so I'm not going to try to spend too much time on it. But honestly, it starts off with hardly any instruments, which for a rock band, that's just an instant no-no. And then once you get to the chorus, you have a reference to Britney Spears, something that's not even in their genre, and an extremely dated reference. In it, he says, "Oops, I did it again," obviously referencing her 2000 hit song, "Oops, I did it again." And that is just such an extremely dated reference, let alone the fact that it seems just out of place when said that the song is mainly about just feeling out of place and feeling like away from people. And he said that that line's in there because Britney Spears was once a part of mainstream society and then we kind of pushed her out. And I get it and I get the reference, but it's also just so dated. There's probably things that he could have used that would have been such better references, either modern or just anything else, than a song that a lot of people didn't really like at the time. And I mean, come on, "Oops, I Did It Again." That is a cheesy song, and we all know it. So why would you reference that in your music? It just, you shouldn't do that intentionally, and yet they did. And then we get to that terrible, like, drop, that terrible breakdown where it's just Young and Menace being repeated over and over, spliced apart and pitch shifted because we all love pitch shifting so much worse than even Gold by Kiara. That song at least kind of had a melody to it. This song seems to just randomly throw those pitches and those snippets of the song in just random places, and I just don't understand why that even happened. Not obviously they're trying to do something that's trendy because yeah, it is a little trendy to do that. I mean, take "It Ain't Me" by Selena Gomez and Kygo. I mean, that is an excellent example. It happens there, but it's just not that good, and very rarely does that ever work and sound good. It's a popular thing to do, and that's just an excellent example of them just showing that it doesn't seem like they really care about their artistic integrity. It's all about that fame. The instrumentation's boring. I mean, a lot of it is organic, but there is a lot of inorganic instrumentation, which is fine. I'll excuse it, but for a rock band, again, for the band, they should have more. And honestly, the bass especially. The bass is one that really bothers me because 99% of the time it's really mixed into the back and you can hardly hear it. And it even when you can, the bass lines are just very weak and lazy. It sounds like Wentz just kind of phoned it in on the bass for this album because there's just nothing about any of his performance that really stands out at all, honestly. I mean, Sunshine Riptide, which is one where you can hear his bass kind of bumping along, even though it is still really quiet, it's there. But that song it's terrible. And yes, his bass line is extremely repetitive in it. But that song, of course, is one of the worst tracks also because it's just trying to follow trends. Now, yes, I don't like this song, but it's not because it has hip hop influences. It's more because of what it stands for. Hip hop influences is huge right now because that's what's really popular, hip hop music. So, of course, a lot of songs are doing that. And for a rock band to be so obvious that they're trying to make a hip hop song, even featuring an artist and trying to have those songs, like the verses sound like just a kind of mumble rap. And it's clear that they're just trying to follow trends. And it's just what this song stands for. Not that I hate it, just by itself, but it's a lot of what it stands for. Now, yes, it does sound very confused because it's trying to do that kind of islandy sound that was really popular, as well as hip hop, and it just kind of gets confused and it seems to not have a lot of focus. But it's not the worst song. It's just what it stands for is clearly why that song is just so terrible. I mean, the whole album just sounds phoned in. The album is 35 minutes. That's their shortest album yet, and it just sounds like they didn't care. They didn't care to make enough content to make it a little longer. It's short like a pop album, and it just sounds like they didn't care. None of these seem to go through quality control. They all just seem to be, well, these are all right, and it sounds popular right now. Sounds like something that could be on the radio, so let's put it out. But yet, none of these songs really do sound like they could be on the radio because they just don't have that in them. They are a rock band, and it's just so unfortunate. And this is a band that has some decent lyrics sometimes, and all of these lyrics are just write-off lyrics. Yes, there may be a line here or a line there, but for the most part, it's just pretty boring lyrically and doesn't seem to do anything. It's just, oh, overall, there's very, very little to praise. All of these songs are just mediocre at best. I mean, maybe some of them would be like a 6 out of 10, but it's like a 6 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10 or much lower. Like songs like Young and Menace, that is just terrible. It's just because they sound like they phoned all of these songs in. Now, there are 3 of the 10 tracks that I'd say maybe are a little better than that 6 out of 10, and that's Bishop's Knife Trick, Last of the Real Ones, and Hold Me Tight or Don't. Bishop's Knife Trick is just their mid-tempo song. It's a little slower, it's a little softer, and I like it. It's subdued and I like it because it sounds like the band's actually kind of working together and it doesn't sound phoned in. It sounds like they're enjoying themselves, and Patrick Stump's vocals are actually really good on this song. He doesn't sound to be pushing himself too hard. It's really nice. It's a really nice song and a really good mid-tempo song that this album did kind of need. Unfortunately, it is the last track, but this album did need that song on there because a lot of these are quite up-tempo and very grandiose, especially. Last of the Real Ones is just fun. I don't really have much to say about it. It's just a fun little song, and it does sound a little bit like their roots. It's enjoyable. Hold Me Tight or Don't is probably the one that a lot of people won't like, but I really do, and honestly, it's just because that chorus, that melody in that chorus is so catchy. Yes, I know this song is not the best instrumentally or vocally or lyrically, none of it is the best, but yet that hook in the chorus is so catchy, and it's so much fun, and I just enjoy it. I mean, I know I'm probably in the minority here, but yet it's just fun, and it is one of the tracks I would say is a standout track because after listening to this whole album so many times, a lot of these I can't really remember how they go. I can remember all the singles because I've just forced myself to remember them. I listened to all 5 of the singles, all 5 of the 10 tracks. I listened to them so many times beforehand because I wanted to know as much of the album as I could before it came out because I had a little tight schedule right now. So I know those really well, but I've listened to the rest of the album 5 or 6 times. Nothing really stands out besides Bishop's Knife Trick. And it's just, honestly, I really do like this song because it is so catchy and it stands out to me so well. It really is just a fun song. As I said, most of this album is mediocre at best, and there's probably maybe 4 tracks on the album that I'd say are above like a 5 out of 10, and the rest are either there or below. So what's a better rating than a 4.5 out of 10? Thank you guys so much for watching. What did you guys think of this album? Are you with me, or do you think that this album is a masterpiece? Because if you do, please tell me why. I'd love to talk about it. Just let me know what you thought of this album down below, or anything that I could do to improve my videos, either content-wise or quality, anything. Just let me know. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.